Welcome to Spirited Straight Talk, the ultimate podcast for anyone who is ready to live a life with intention and help from spirit. I am your host, Deb Shepard, spiritual teacher, medium, and author, helping you open up to the whole enchilada, or like we like to say, the soul enchilada, so you can truly make your soul rise. So let's go. I'm here with my partner, Dana, and we're going to talk about manifesting. And this is a topic that if you're on a spiritual journey, it is always going to be there. Mm-hmm. And it is something that I've talked about, of course, for all the years I've been doing this work. But I kind of wanted to talk about it in a way that maybe some people have not thought about. So if you've done a little work on manifesting, you understand the law of attraction. What we're going to do today is kind of talk about what I think can be more helpful to maybe make that a little bit more of a turn. Because I think sometimes people are not pushing themselves enough to really create or manifest what they want. Mm-hmm. And part of this is really being clear on what you want to create, because I think there's also a little bit of confusion sometimes about what we really truly believe that we want. Because when we go through this podcast, I think sometimes we may think or we may say we want these kind of things, but then we're really holding all that energy back because of maybe the past or our fears or what's happened in the past. And I've told the story before, but I manifested you remember? And I think
that you did. So you were witchy.
I was witchy, yeah.
Just kidding.
Witchy woman. So what happened is I teach this, and so of course as many times as I can I practice most of the time when I teach. And I decided to write a letter to the universe, and it was I scribbled it. I showed you. Mm-hmm. It was scribbled it. There was words taken out and replaced. And I basically wrote this letter to the universe of please. Basically, I said, thank you for bringing this person to my life. Like it had already happened. It wasn't, this is what I want.
So you weren't writing your desires. You were writing it as if
I
was already here.
But I will tell all of you what was interesting is I wrote these things that I was blessed to have in my life, this partner. But I never put a him or a her. So,
ta-da!
Ta-da! So that's why I said don't be attached to the outcome. I certainly didn't expect this to evolve. But when we met, I found the letter about 6 months later, and I read it, and it was you to a T, everything, and supporting me with what I believe, and working together, and all these kind of different things, and of course bringing humor in, which is so important for both of us,
supporting our children,
mm-hmm. and all that went on. But I had written it like a thank you letter, and I think what happens is we put a lot of times in when people make these vision boards, it's like what they want to have. And I think that these things can happen, but I think there can be a little twist on like imagining that it's already there. Mm-hmm. And also the other part is making sure you're aligned with what you're really saying. And I think that's the big deal is, are you aligned? And what I have worked with people is that they have all this bad clutter in their mind and all these fears and these past things that they truly don't believe that, one, they don't deserve it, or two, that it can't happen to them. Mm-hmm. And what has happened to them in the past is still affecting how they move forward. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit about how to kind of change it. And are you in alignment with what you want? So, you can do the vision board. You can certainly, write the letter like I did by being thankful for what the universe brought. But then really start to dive deep, kind of go into what it is that you're trying to create. So, an example is, the way to think about this as a story is that, let's say there's a job posted at your work, and you're like, God, I'd really like to apply for that. I mean, that's like my dream job. Mm-hmm. I can make more money. There's more flexibility. I can be creative because this is really a left brain job and I really like people. And you're like, I really want to apply for that. But then all of a sudden you get those doubts. Mm-hmm.
Like, is this really for me? Is somebody else more qualified? Maybe I don't have the training. instead of...
Why would they pick me?
Right.
We think about what our parents would say or what a friend would say, what your ex saying, this is as good as it gets for you. And this could even be a sibling or a teacher, someone that was in your life. But if you have all those doubts...
we're taught such limiting beliefs. Like we're, from a young age, we're taught we're taught even to not pay attention to our gut feelings.
Correct.
So we're taught these limiting beliefs from a young age, like, even our parents teaching us, like you're saying, or
for the friends, or actually
right.
a teacher, or an ex relationship.
And unfortunately, sometimes religion teaches us those limiting beliefs too. Not that we're open to every religion, but sometimes it teaches you limiting beliefs.
Right. Well, when I was growing up, and this is before your time, I was told, money, money doesn't grow on trees.
I'm having a hot flash.
Money doesn't grow on trees. We shared TMI right now.
Hot flashes happen, right?
Who do you think you are? Do you think you're really that smart? You're not that talented, and we continue sometimes to carry those limited beliefs with us.
Right.
And then we start actually aligning that stuff, and it ends up happening, and so it proves to us that those belief systems are true. Mm-hmm. And really...
We end up inadvertently confirming the limiting beliefs.
Correct.
Without realizing it.
So today's podcast is about how to kind of be aware of what we're believing and how we're creating blocks for the alignment for us to be able to receive, which is a big thing, is learning how to receive, and to realize that you can manifest or plan, and call it a goal. To me, manifesting sometimes has a magical term to it, like, I'm just going to manifest, where a lot of this is just having a goal in mind. So publishing my book, I think a lot of it had to do with, I really wanted this book to be published, but then it was my goal, but then I had to receive and ask for help, like yourself, to help me get it there. And believing that maybe my writing is not great, but it was edited 7 or 8 times.
9.
So that it sounds...
That's the process.
Right.
But as you're raw, mm-hmm. and then it's not even organized into chapters, and then it starts to take shape. So it takes time.
But it takes the village or the people. And I think a lot of us will think that we have to do it our own, or I'm not good at something, so why could I do this? Mm-hmm. So if you're wanting to publish a book, when you go into, well, I'm not a good writer, or I'm not a good, I can't punctuate very well, that doesn't...
You're limiting yourself.
You're limiting your belief
mm-hmm.
again.
And isn't that a form of control?
Like we talked about earlier.
Your last podcast was on control. So you're trying to control the outcome versus trusting.
Right. Or allowing. The trusting and
receiving.
Allowing. Mm-hmm. So some of the ways that we want to make sure we manifest, again, it's not trying to control it. But let's say that we are trying to find a partner. I work with a lot of people that, they've been divorced or their partner passed, and now they're really trying to manifest a partner. And they're saying, I really want to work on this. So we talk about things, and then they say, you know what, this is what I don't want in a partner. And they mm-hmm. start explaining their previous relationship.
What they don't want.
Yeah. And I get that, but again, you're kind of...
That doesn't help you.
I did not write that in my thank you letter. I wrote, this is a positive person. I didn't write my negative relationships before. I wrote what I was thankful for. And that's also, we go into that past, like, well, I don't want someone that's going to be a workaholic, or I don't want someone that has to be with their friends, all, whatever that topic is. And so you want to also look to see if your heart is blocked. You've heard me say lots of times that someone goes, I really want a relationship, but then you can feel the armor against their chest.
Yeah.
And you're going,
they're sitting there with their arms crossed, and you're
turning sideways.
I want a relationship, and I'm open. Oh, really?
And then you ask, are you willing to go on some dating sites? Oh, I'm not willing to go on dating sites. Oh, no. And there's all these layers of excuses, first of all. And I'm like, if you're not even willing to go on a dating site, and I get that there's fear out there. I understand, but there's also ways that you can be smart and protect yourself regarding the dating scene.
Right.
So that's another part of it. Trust. If you've been betrayed in a relationship or someone promised you something and then it didn't follow through or whatever happened, trust is the number one thing. So one way to kind of look at if you feel like you can't trust a partner or a new future relationship, think about the people you have trusted in your life. So let's say you've had some men in your past that have had affairs or taken money or whatever your story is, and you think, I just can't trust men again. Think about your girlfriends. Think about a parent. Think about someone that you really care about that you've trusted. That means you can trust. But normally what happens is that we don't trust ourselves, or we didn't really listen to that little voice in our head that said this is not really.
To our gut.
We become desperate. We listen to our gut. And I know I've shared that story many times about I didn't trust my gut. And I'm like, well, it didn't work, and then I get angry. Well, I didn't trust my gut,
You didn't listen to your gut.
Yeah, didn't listen.
Yeah.
Also, we kind of put men or women, depending on how you're dating, in one lump kind of category. Like, I can't trust women, or I can't trust men. And we're really, that to me is a sexist comment, because not all men and women are equal. There are relationships. If you've had a brother or a friend or an uncle or a cousin, a coworker that has been good
That's
to
just
you.
passing judgment.
It's passing judgment.
Doing,
that blanket sort of
judgment
idea. And again, you're telling the universe they're all that way. So what do you think you're going to attract?
It's gonna,
because that's your alignment.
That's what you'll attract right back to you.
So really listening to those words. Also looking at those patterns of who you've dated in the past or been married to, those long-term relationships, and what is that pattern? Is it always abandonment? Is it always trust? Is it always anger or control? So by looking at those patterns, it will help you dive deeper into what you can do to change, so that
your thought pattern,
and also what you're attracting and why. Because manifesting, or those goals, are about, we're attracting those things. So if you feel like the only way someone's going to love you is that you take care of them, what do you think you're going to always attract?
You're going to be a nurse or a purse.
That's right. 100%.
A nurse or a purse.
So you don't want to be a nurse or a purse, so change those behaviors so that you can find that true partnership that's more equal, not feeling that you have to be always that giver in that relationship, or the one that takes care of.
And I think realizing it doesn't always have to be a struggle is a big deal.
So what you want to do is you really want to dive deep into that and understand why you have been struggling, and then look at other relationships that are, positive. What did they do that you can maybe learn differently? And this is kind of changing the way you're seeing about dating and being out there. The other thing we don't want to do with all the doubts is think, like, let's say for the job interview, well, we start doubting ourselves. Well, what if it's a lot of work? What if I can't manage all the work? Maybe I really can't do it. Maybe I don't want a long-term relationship.
Right. The doubts are
big.
Well, and that's what we've learned. So really, I think changing course on that can be hard sometimes. Like, changing course on your thought patterns can be really hard.
Well, I think what we look for as we get older is we want that insurance that if I put myself out there, then it's going to work. So if we're fear-based and we don't feel like we're really aligned, we create the doubt so that we can't put our toe in the water. I'm not going to go and try this if it means I'm going to be hurt like I have been before. So you're not going to manifest anything that's going to be that whole doubtful kind of thing, or you're going to manifest exactly your doubts,
So then you go to, do you really want to manifest what you think you want to manifest, right? Like,
correct.
I've heard people, actually recently, students saying, couple years ago, I wrote all this information down, and this is what I wanted to manifest, and now I've made some changes, and now it's all coming to fruition all at once. So they were a little overwhelmed by that, and it's good things happening, but
It can be overwhelming. Well, like I said, what if the relationship is so intense or the job is overwhelming, but you're making more money? So we kind of go into those doubts of what if it happens? Do I want to commit?
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Well, I've had those thoughts at times, like, this is a great opportunity, but do I want it?
Correct.
And I've had to turn some things down because the commitment
is too much.
So that I can see how it can be.
Well, even the fact I've heard people say, well, I want to have a lot of money, but I want to be able to help a lot of people, and I don't want to be mean when I get all that money. Like, first of all, why would you change your personality? Second, why do you have to donate all your money to everybody? I mean, you want to help everybody out versus why don't you just say, I want to manifest this money. I have it. I'm thankful for it. Then you can decide what to do. But people have this long-term plan, and then they're worried what people are going to think about them. And that's the other thing that is an issue to manifesting, because we do get into fear of, well, what will people say? Or what would they think? And will they think I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve this? And who do I think I am? And that will then create all that lowering of that energy, that vibration, to be able to truly manifest those things. And then they'll say things like that self-judgment. Well, things like that don't happen. Good things don't happen to me. I mean, I've heard people say that. Nothing ever good happens. It's always the negative. Or, I work harder than anybody, but...
Or, I'm not lucky.
I'm not lucky. Yeah.
I won't win money, that kind of thing.
Okay, that's Dana and I when we go gambling. I always say I don't gamble because I don't win. I probably should change that.
I don't win.
Yeah, so
I wasn't referring to you, but, we can bring that story up.
Yeah, we can bring the story. I'm like, I'm always not winning when I
remember, God, this was years ago. I was probably in my 20s, and I was working, it was a collection job at the time. Just back in the day. Thomas was itty bitty. But there was
Thomas is our son that's now 27?
8.
20. He'll be 28 this year.
He'll be 28 this year. Oh my God. I remember sitting thinking there was this big drawing where you could win $700, but they were doing it several times. But you could win in this drawing $700. And I remember thinking, I think I'm going to win twice. And I did.
Wow.
So it was almost like premonition or manifesting it.
A combination.
How do you know? Yeah. But, I knew they were going to draw my number twice. Or I was really, really trying to manifest that because it was Christmas time.
Right.
I was young
Single
and not
mom.
Earning that much money at the time. Yeah. So
maybe we should go to bingo, where our friend for the Chelsea Hutchison Foundation does their bingo and all.
Yeah, you almost won.
I did, but
you
know what? I remember sitting there thinking to myself, oh, there's other people that really need it, and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, so you manifested not winning.
Well, that goes through. Like, what would they think if I win? That I'm a psychic. Did I pick the right bingo card? But you do. Your human side goes there, and you got to kind of remember because I went there just to play.
Yeah.
But I get, I get excited if I'm going to win.
Oh, yeah.
When I beat Dana, like at playing, I don't know, any kind of game.
Yeah.
Card game.
We'll play. What is that game we play? The
checkers.
Gin rummy.
Gin rummy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I always like to win.
You'd think that I don't
have money on that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But bottom line, what we're trying to say is, what does your mind say? What is your belief system?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going when you are deciding that you want to manifest these goals? Mm-hmm. If these goals are in your life that you say, well, I really want to, lose weight, which we're working on and trying to get healthier, you have to really put your mindset there. Mm-hmm. When you're
making healthy choices.
Right.
But I think it's also making healthy choices for your mind.
Correct. Absolutely. Well, I'm getting older, so this is what happens. That kind of story I tell myself.
We're going to eat salmon 3 times a week to help our brain.
Yeah. So, basically, you want to be able to say, I can do these things, and fill in the blank to whatever that is. But what we do is we go into the place of, I can't go do
Fear.
this because I don't have enough money, or I need to lose weight, or who would date me, or who would, want to have me for this job. So all of that
And
is
why
part
would
of
the universe make us millionaires?
Yes.
All those things.
Yeah. So really think
Limiting
about it.
beliefs, yeah.
But then we're going to tell you how to manifest.
Yeah, I was going to say, so how do we change this?
Let me
Now
make
that
it
we
easy.
brought up all the
Yeah.
limiting beliefs, how do we change this?
And this is good reminders when I do these podcasts or I do blogs or I teach. It's always a reminder for me, because even though I've said these words probably a million times or however many, it's still that reminder that we all need. So if you've really worked on manifesting, or you've been teaching it and goal setting, it's again those reminders that we need to do. And the first thing that I work with people is stop telling your story.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, how do we manifest a beach house?
Anyone out there that has a beach house they want to sell? Or
we were just talking about this today. Is in the wintertime here in Colorado, our joints hurt.
We're whiners.
I hope I'm not whiners, or we're not whiners, but it is like as we age, things do change.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, God, it would be so nice to be somewhere warm during the colder months. So anyway, that was just, I have to figure out. So tell me how to manifest this. Tell me how to manifest this.
Yeah, Dana's not one to go too much into her past. That's one thing about Dana. But I think what I hear a lot are that people have the story that they spend so much time on their past. I even read something that we spend, which I don't know how they got these numbers, but people spend like 46% of their time thinking about their past and regrets. Oh. And I was just like, really? I mean, I do throughout the day, but not that much, I don't think.
I don't think you do.
But anyway,
we talk about the past, but we certainly don't dwell on.
Right. And our past, as we know, it doesn't define us. As a matter of fact, I love stories of what people have been through that now have changed their life. I mean, those are the stories I like. They don't let it still define them. Mm-hmm. And then even if you've been successful in the past, so, I'm way beyond high school, but, you see people from high school and they're still kind of living that high school idea of their identity, and you're kind of going,
I was a wrestler.
I did this. I'm like, you realize that you're 60.
Played football. I got to get together with my football buddies.
So looking at those, there's certain times in our lives that really did open doors that were really great. But again, it's in our past. Yeah. And we don't want to try to match the past. We kind of want to do it our own way and try to figure out how to make that change.
But even success doesn't define us.
As I said, what you did in high school or college or the one job or whatever that is, those are great moments to celebrate. And they're great moments to remember that you can manifest. But again, going back is really basically, it's like those reins that horses have. We're just pulling our lives backwards. We're not here to go backwards. So
that's a great visual.
Yeah, so moving forward. The one thing I've had people do, and this story, and people...
So this is number 2.
Number 2.
This is number 2, a way to stop telling your story.
And this, if you really want to stop your story, I'll tell you, this changes your life almost instantly, and people really don't like me. I have a big sigh of, when I tell them this.
And some of the classes that
people
you've
get
had
angry.
People do this, they throw a fit.
Yeah, they do. So what you do is you record your story, and all of us have phones, and you record that story, and then you listen to it several times a day.
So when you say record your story, it is... It's kind of like all your whining, basically.
Whining. Yeah.
It's what you tell yourself on a daily basis, how you beat yourself down.
Right.
Ultimately, this is what you're telling yourself, and this is
the story you tell a friend. If you say, you're complaining. Put your complaints in your phone and listen to them. And if you do not think that you are making that story to the universe, you are, because you're thinking it.
You're sending that energy out.
You are. Mm-hmm. But when you listen to it, literally people go, I just want to get sick. I want to throw up. And I go, good, because that's the energy you're sending to the universe. If you want that to change, you've got to be and prepared to change that story.
Yeah.
What I encourage you to do is when you're done with that story, is rechange the story so you
Tell
can
your new story.
Tell your new story. And let that be a reminder of your new energy so you're more aligned. And I've had people argue with me and get mad, and I'm like, well, it's not my story. It's your story.
Didn't this come from your guides anyway?
Oh, yeah, a long time ago. I did this, and I was
to have people do this. This came from your guides.
And we started before we really had these kind of technology and phones. But it's if you really want to change kind of the way your life is going, if you really want to make a shift in consciousness, if you want to manifest, if you want to create these goals, listen to your story. And when I tell people this, when you hear someone else's story that's always that same record player, which I don't know if young people know what record players are, but the same music.
I think most people listening to the podcast will know.
You play it over and over and over. It really, it's horrible, and you don't want to be around that person.
Yeah.
So if that's your story, the universe goes, yeah, well, we're going to create another obstacle in your life because that's what you believe.
Yeah. Well, and that's what you're sending out there.
That it can't happen.
The universe is responding to that. It's like you said it recently, it's like a mirror.
Yeah.
It's mirroring it back to you. It's mirroring back what you're giving it. And so, yeah, it's bouncing back on you.
Yeah. So that's one way to do it. Stop the old patterns. I've used this trick as well. Put a thick rubber band on your non-strong hand. So if I'm right-handed, I put it on my left wrist. And when I say those things like, oh, I can't do that, or, that doesn't make
Or think them.
Not
That's
just
even
say
better.
them,
but even think them.
You snap that rubber band and you will really realize how much you're thinking about it. If, like, you and I are together all the time, so we can kind of correct each other too, like, oh, is that really what you want to think or say? And it's not judgmental for us. We're just we laugh about it, like, is that how you really want to say it? And we're really good about our words. We're, about the shoulds and hates, and we don't use any of those words in our house as much as possible. So, again, being aware and changing sort of that awareness and pattern so you can stop it. Putting sticky notes. Whoever created sticky notes is a genius, as we all know. But if you're not a positive person, or you are not good at saying positive things about yourself, put positive sticky notes around your house, in your car, and your day timer, if people use it, at your desk, wherever that is, so that when you see it, it reminds you that, I am a good person. I am kind. I do think of others. I do recycle. I don't care what that is, but start really saying good things about yourself.
That just reminded me years ago when The Secret first came out. I was an avid follower of The Secret, and there was I think I found these at just a little craft fair, but they were just little cards, basically, just circular, couple inches wide. And they put them in this cute little box. But on each of those cards, it had a mantra, a manifesting mantra, like, I am good.
Right.
I am lovable. The universe is bringing me all my desires. It's just all those... Every type of
I am worthy.
I am worthy. Every type of manifesting mantra you could think of, and those were great to have around because you could pull one out in the morning.
Right.
Just take one out, and that was your mantra for the day, which I think was lovely. And I used to use them every day. I forgot about those.
Yeah, I remember you had those.
Yeah.
Oh, they're probably around somewhere. Yeah, I saw them.
They probably are. Yeah, they're just little round little cards.
We'll probably go through a box and find them.
Maybe we should start making those.
No, we should. We should. Yeah. I think we all have to have reminders. I mean, there's so many negative things that are going on. A lot of times we grasp towards those things versus what really is positive. And so, again, kind of change those things. Along with that, wearing fun clothes, getting your photos taken that are really good, makes you feel good again. Eat healthy, do some fun things, and then just really stomp out that negativity thinking. I think that is all under number 3.
Yeah.
Number 4, get a freaking ego. People in my line of work will always say, oh, that's the ego. Well, you need your ego in order to feel present in a human body and do what it takes. For me to be on a podcast or on the radio or talking to dead people, I have to have enough of an ego to say, I'm capable of doing this. Now, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else.
I think having an ego is extremely different than being egotistical.
Absolutely.
Completely different things.
So, put that into your diet, I would say. Take a self-defense class. Go again and watch or read some stories that just really are motivating. Decorate a room. Play with animals. You and I just finished this podcast room and everyone loves it. It has such a good vibe.
Yeah.
Those things kind of build your confidence and make you think, yeah, I can kind of do this.
Do things that build your confidence.
Yeah.
So whether it's like you did martial arts, but
I cried the entire time. But yes, I got my black belt in martial arts. But
things.
Yeah.
Not that everybody has to go out and do martial arts,
No.
but things that build your confidence. Even taking a cooking class you've
Correct.
mentioned before.
Absolutely. And I know you would probably love this. I would never do it. And, you can go drive a race car.
Oh, I wouldn't like
No?
that, but
Some
our
pe-
son Thomas would.
So, really, I think we all need what we call the B12 shots to build your confidence, to know you can do something. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think that's the biggest key is people are looking for perfection, and it's not really there. Perfection isn't really there. But allowing yourself to have these experiences, and it doesn't have to look the way you're expecting. And
So
I think
number 5,
Yes.
write a letter to the universe manifesting your desire, what you want.
or being thankful for it.
Oh, being thankful for it.
Yeah,
So,
it's already happened. And, like you were saying here, don't compare yourself. So really kind of change that mindset. And then seriously write down what you're thankful for. And I know that there's always those words now you can have in your house, that thankful or grateful, or have a grateful jar. But when you write it in a letter to the universe, really feel in your gut and your heart, is this what you're wanting to come? Are you ready for it? And not to panic, but knowing that if it does show up, you can also say no. I think that's the other thing. People think if it shows up that you can't say no, so that you do have the power to say, I need a little bit more time. I mean, if all of a sudden 5 guys are knocking at your door, you may want to say, take a moment. So again, this is about how do you manifest? How do you line yourself up? What are you thinking? What are you saying? What do you believe? Is that really for your highest good?
And if you create a vision board, that's great, but make sure you're writing that letter to the universe in thankfulness.
Yes,
Gratefulness. Is
I
that a
think
word?
they're words. I think they are.
But being grateful for what you have, not what's coming.
Right.
So,
And you too can have a Dana.
oh, how funny.
But really, that's how it happened. I mean, I've been teaching this for a long time, and my dating was completely south, and I was believing in all those things, and I was very frustrated. And I remember it was late before bed, and I just sat down and I said, I'm thankful for this, and put it in the drawer and let it go. And never imagined this is what would manifest, but I couldn't be happier. And so allowing people to know that you can create, that you are able to align with the universe. Just figure out where you're blocking that. I always call it the kink in the hose. Find out where the kink is.
And let that open up.
Yeah. Well, thanks for
Cool.
joining
Yeah.
us. Keep us informed and let us know if you were able to manifest or you've manifested before and how it happened. We'd love to hear your stories. Thank you once again for joining us. Namaste.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Spirited Straight Talk. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe so that you get notified of new shows. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a review. And let's connect. Visit debshepard.com for more insights, support, workshops, and to book a session with Deb. Plus, enter to get a free reading with Deb. All you have to do is sign up for the email list and you'll automatically be entered. Just go to debshepard.com. That's DEBSHEPPARD.com.